The Devil's Dream. Scene 1, take 1. Welcome to this vlog about a trip I'm about to take. I'm sitting here deciding what equipment to bring. Would be nice to have a good microphone, gimbal, tripod, microphone holder, extra camera, lenses, even a drone, lighting, but it's very limited what I will be able to bring, because this trip will go to a place that I call the Devil's Dream. God willing, I will go there and come back in one piece. I will not tell you where I'm going yet. You will find out as you follow me on this trip. So, let's get going. We're on our way. The first stop is to pick up a drone and then to the airport. Now, we're at Kastrup Airport. Time to go and take the bus. Finally, gate to the left. So I'm in Copenhagen Airport now, and soon you'll find out where the first stop is. Now I'm in Coral Gables.
As opposed to the Wasatch.
Well, as you see, I didn't stop here in Miami. Onwards to the next stop. I'm in Bogota, Colombia, and I'm getting close to the goal of this trip, the Devil's Dream. But still, I have a few hours here. I've been on the road for 30 hours plus, and soon we'll see what the final destination is. Hopefully getting there today. While waiting for the next flight, better eat something. Typical dish here. At the end of this second day of traveling, I have finally reached the destination, the first stop for this journey into the Devil's Dream. Tomorrow I will go out and look at the city more in detail, and then you will see where I am. There was a notice of baggage inspection in this bag, which arrived totally broken. And it was not, this one was not sealed. You can see they marked it here, so it's not just that they inspected it, they broke it. What they did was surely to move the tightly packed contents out of position and then force close it with this one, which pressed out the bottom. And they applied so much force that one of the objects that was here, this cell phone, was crushed. The screen was crushed. This is a brand new screen. I just replaced it. Never used it since I replaced the screen. Destroyed by TSA. That was one long journey, so I have to admit I needed a little bit of resting. And since I had rented an Airbnb, I also needed to find a store, buy foods and supply to get organized. Plus, I realized that the drone I had purchased during the trip, I had bought it without a micro SD card. So I had to go and buy a micro SD card. But once I was settled in this little town, I took the drone out to this park to learn to fly it. This is a DJI Mini 2. Very easy to fly, same as the drone I had before, the DJI Mavic Pro. But I took this first flight here right in the park, about eye level, just to practice. So that's me, learning to fly, and now let's go up and see Cúcuta. This is Cúcuta in the department of Norte de Santander in Colombia, on the border to Venezuela. So what you see, the mountain in the background, straight in front of me is Colombia, and to the right is Venezuela. This is not too far from the airport, actually, so it's where the planes come in for landing, which is why the airspace was limited. The flight altitude is limited here. The buildings there are Reserva San Luis, the apartment complex where my Airbnb is. And that's the main bridge, the road that goes from Venezuela to the left into the center of Cúcuta to the right. The last time I was here in the center of Cúcuta was in 2019, when this town was the epicenter of the Venezuelan refugee crisis. You see, the Venezuelans, they can go to the border municipalities in Colombia without a passport, but then they can't continue. So lots and lots of them came here to Cúcuta and got trapped. They got stranded here. But the vast majority continued, walking or by bus. Millions and millions walked over the Andean mountains, 2 other countries in South America, and now more and more are crossing the Darien Gap in Panama to get to the United States. Well, this was in 2019, and I wanted to go out and see a little bit more around Cúcuta, but not going the same direction. So I decided to rent a car and go to Puerto Santander, the border to Venezuela. So I've arrived to Cúcuta Airport, and now the trip will continue by car. So I'm going out from Cúcuta here, and I actually decided to take a detour. Instead of going directly to the target, I'm going a little detour. We are now en route to the first stop on the road. Even though I'm so close to Venezuela, I can't go into that country due to my activism against the dictatorship. It would be extremely risky and dangerous for me to go into that country. But I can go right up to the border, and that's what I'm going to do now. I'm driving down to Puerto Santander. I picked up a young woman on the way. She's my guide here. This is, ¿cómo se llama Puerto?
Santander.
Puerto Santander. I asked her to show me where she lived.
Esa era la casa de mi mamá.
On the other side of that little water is Venezuela.
Ahí tienen las escaleras.
This is the center of Puerto Santander. Straight ahead is the bridge to Venezuela. Yo creo que no voy por allá, sino por aquí.
Allá no fue
Pero aquí está como... This is a spontaneously created town. I had a chat with some local people. They say there are 2 border bridges and 1 illegal border crossing. That is called Trocha here. So on the Trocha, that I suppose is where they smuggle the drugs over, because I have been told from the bodyguard of the leader of the drug cartel in Venezuela, Diosdado Cabello. He's the leader of the Cartel de los Soles, according to his former bodyguard. And on the other side of this river is where they receive the drugs, one of the places in Europa. I went a little bit outside where there are not so many people to fly the drone and have a look. So we're looking towards, I would say this is northeast, towards the center of Puerto Santander. Let's see if it shows up here now when I go up with the drone. The antenna, yeah, that's the center. We see right there is the center of Puerto Santander. Then on the other side of the river is Venezuela. So that the whole thing you see there, the horizon, is the lowlands in Venezuela, what they call Sur del Lago, south of Lake Maracaibo in Zulia, state of Zulia. And the river there, that's Rio Zulia. So this Puerto Santander is sitting where a tributary is joining Rio Zulia, and where we were the place we saw at the river was one of the cut-off branches, the meander branches of that tributary. So we are here approximately 1 kilometer from Venezuela. The green, the forest, the darker vegetation, that's Venezuela. And the agricultural area is Colombia. I would assume this to be rice fields that are underwater here. I'm just gonna fly here and look around. See what we can spot on the ground. So the mountains in the background, that's the branch of the Andean chain that goes north. It splits up here and creates this depression. The plain we see is the depression between this branch that goes due north and the branch that continues northeast towards the center of Venezuela and Caracas. So that's the border between Venezuela and Colombia in front of us there. You see Rio Zulia flowing from left to right here. It's interesting to see this meandering river, how it's eroding on the outside of the bend and then it's accumulating on the inside of the bend. That's how the meanders move. There is a lot of sediment in the river. Even though the flow is low, the discharge is low, there is still a significant amount of sediment concentration. I wonder where that high sediment concentration is coming from. If it's the agriculture, it could also be from mining. If they are mining in clay soils. Because here there is a lot of minerals. You can find, I don't know exactly here, but not too far away in Colombia and Venezuela, you can find gold, coltan, even diamonds in the clay soil directly because it's weathered down. Igneous rock that's weathered down and then transported, and these heavy minerals have accumulated in some places, and then more clay has accumulated on top, and that way there are places where you can find concentrations of mineral. So what they do is simply they sieve it out. They flush away the clay, and that way they create a tremendous amount of sediment concentration in the rivers. So if you use satellite images and follow these heavily sediment-laden rivers upstream, you often are able to find the mining areas. This is looking back towards Colombia. That area up there, there's a low ridge, that's Tibu. The area up there is Tibu, which is controlled by the ELN guerrilla and has been since they were created in 1964. And here's towards Venezuela. All of this area in Venezuela is also under the more or less control. It's infiltrated by, it's controlled by the Venezuelan government, obviously, the dictatorship, but the guerrilla is very present there, the ELN guerrilla. Ejército de Liberación Nacional is called. I got a little bit lost. Where am I? Oh, there. Okay. So, yeah, this is downstream. The border between Colombia and Venezuela is right in the middle there, on the other side of the river. From the right, the border follows the river, and then it sticks off straight in front of the drone here. And if you look to the left, there is a truck parked on the small road, blue truck. Follow that road to the right, and there is a border checkpoint control. It looks like there is a little tower there, actually, a watchtower for the border. And shortly after that, where the end of that green field is, and it starts to look dry, and there is smoke coming up, that's Venezuela. So this is actually a little road that crosses the border here, an illegal border crossing. It has a control, but the fact that there is a watchtower there at that border crossing doesn't mean that it's impossible to cross it illegally. It's just a matter of bribing the guards. Well, it's interesting to see how well utilized the land is here on the Colombian side of the border. And then when we look over the border to Venezuela, it's like completely abandoned. Which is, of course, a result of the politics in Venezuela. They confiscated a lot of land and they made it impossible for the farmers. The farmers in this area, in Zulia, south of the lake, Sur del Lago, they were protesting fiercely in late 2010. Then after that it went downhill. A lot of farmers there in Venezuela, in this area, and in all of the country, have had to abandon their farms. You just can't continue with agriculture when you can't buy supplies, when the diesel for the tractor is either limited or either in short supply or unavailable, and fertilizers you can't get. It's tremendous how Venezuela, a country with such a rich potential for agriculture, has been completely ruined by the government, by the Maduro government, to the point that people are fleeing out of starvation. I think over 7 million Venezuelans have fled due to starvation the last few years, and that's because they destroyed the agriculture. And here we saw it. We saw it from the drone, the difference between Venezuela and Colombia. So it's time to go back. I'm running low on battery in the drone. I will now continue and take the shortcut to go up to Tibu and sleep there during the night, and then tomorrow go up to La Gavarra, because I've been told that's as far as I can go before encountering a military checkpoint to guerrilla-controlled area. I took my guide back home, and then I decided, instead of going back to Puerto Santander and driving the road up towards Tibu, where I plan to stay during the night, I took this gravel road directly up to Rio Zulia, where, according to the GPS, there is a bridge. Well, unfortunately for me, the bridge that was there on the GPS is not there on reality. So then I have to either go back a long way back, or, which I decided to do, go back to Cucuta. The problem is the GPS doesn't indicate that there is a way to get back, but I'm hoping there is. So I'm driving this road, hoping to find a way to cross Rio Zulia. I driving farther and farther, and it's about to get dark. And I don't know how far it is. I don't know if there is any way to get out this way. And here, this bridge has been destroyed completely. It's getting worse and worse. I'm getting worried that this road may not have an opening in the other end. Once upon a time there was a bridge here. And the GPS doesn't show any. I decided to take out the drone and fly and look, because I can actually fly faster with the drone than I can drive on this dirt road. This is just a two-wheel drive normal car. It's not an off-road car. It's marginally possible to drive here. So you see the Rio Zulia there, and I'm trying to see if there is where the road goes, because either I have to find a bridge over the river or continue so far up and so I get back to Cucuta, because Cucuta is also on this side of the river. The question is how far the road goes that way. Might as well take a look around when I'm up here. So this is the southern end. You see the high mountains there in the background. Incredible. This is the southern end of the Zulia Depression. This is a little mountain sitting here by Cucuta, between the Andean chain in the background and the other chain on the other side of the river. There's some line there. I wonder what that is. Maybe a pipeline. Well, no bridge, no sign of the bridge. The place down there where the smoke is, I think that's more or less where the bridge was supposed to be. And there was a dam over the river, but no way to pass with a vehicle. If there once had been a bridge, it had been destroyed. And that's where I was going, in the distance there. That's going north to Thibaut. That was my goal. Tomorrow, I'll go there tomorrow. I'll go back to Cucuta tonight and sleep and go early tomorrow to go up, because that will be a long drive. Tomorrow I will go on the other side of Rio Zulia that you see there. And by the way, the mountains in the background, that is Catatumbo, controlled by the guerrilla. Well, I did not see anything looking around, so I will fly a little bit this way and see. The good thing with this drone is it has a substantial range, and since I bought the kit with 3 batteries, I just used one, so this is the second battery. I still have one unused. It seems to me that the sediment concentration in the water is less here than it was down in Puerto Santander. Speaking of sediment concentration in rivers, the first one, the classical work on measuring that in a quantitative way, was made in Uppsala by Philip Hjulström, who later became professor of the department where I took my doctorate, Department of Physical Geography. He took samples every day from the Rio Fyrisån that passes through Uppsala, and analyzed them for sediment concentration, and he also measured the water stage to get the discharge in the river. And based on that, he could make a quantitative calculation of how much sediment get transported out that's eroded from agricultural land. Well, I didn't see any sign of where this road leads, but at least I could see that it continues a good distance, because I was getting worried that the road was about to end due to the poor shape it was in. but it actually seems like it's improving a little bit up ahead. Right here it's just dirt, but it seems like it's improving. So I will continue this road and hope for the best. Now I just have to fly back the drone and land. Oh, there's my car. And now it's just a question of landing. After driving another 15 minutes or so, the road started to go up on that little mountain to the left. And I'm getting some hope again. The GPS in the car still tells me that there is no outlet on this road, but that just has to be. I'm holding my fingers, crossing my fingers that there is an outlet. I'm getting up over that little mountain now, and still the GPS says that there is no outlet here. Cross fingers.
For 1 kilometer.
So now I'm crossed over this hill and I'm getting down to where Cucuta is on the other side. The GPS says that there is no outlet and the road is in bad shape, but I've met traffic. And here's a bridge which looks rather new. That's a good sign. And there is a lot of vehicle traffic, so I'm pretty sure there is an outlet. There has to be an outlet. There is more traffic here than there was 20 minutes ago, so there has to be an outlet here. And here's another motorbike. There, look, that has to be Cucuta up there by the horizon. Yeah, the road to Cucuta is there. And here, the road got fine. Great. Great. Now I know I made it. The GPS still tells me that there is no outlet, but I can see it with my own eyes now. It's going down to the mine. And that's surely why it's not on the GPS, because it's going in. It's leaving the highway on a place where you just don't see it. So now I have to lighten my packing a bit because I'm going up on a quicker trip than planned to Tibú and La Gavarra. And this is the reason why I bought the drone on the way. Because I want to show in La Gavarra, Rio Catatumbo, that the area where they grow the coca is right next to Venezuela. And the reason I want to show this is because Swedish television the other year had a reportage in which their reporter went to Catatumbo.
¿Y por qué es tan difícil encontrar personas aquí en el Catatumbo dispuestos a hablar abiertamente sobre este tema de la influencia mexicana?
Es muy difícil porque ellos son los que controlan y si ellos hablan, los matan o en el mejor de las suertes los destierran de donde ellos están. Entonces todo el mundo sabe dónde están, pero nadie cuenta qué está pasando.
The problem I have is that the TSA destroyed my burner phone. So now I have to bring my real phone in order to fly the drone. Because I can't use the crushed screen to fly with the drone. I have to connect the phone as the display to the drone. And that puts me in a real danger, because if the gorilla stops me and hacks the phone, they will find out everything I've done against the dictatorship, and it's a risk, but I feel I have to take it. What you see here in the bottom of the screen is Cucuta and the airport where I rented the car, and then I drove up this road here to Puerto Santander. This is Venezuela, this is Colombia. And if we zoom in here, you can see when I drove up to the bridge here and then back, and then I stopped over here and flew with the drone up to approximately here. Let me tilt this down so we can get perspective. And here we can see the same view with the tower there, and there's the border. And we see the mountain chain on the west side and on the east side of the Zulia department in Venezuela, and the Rio Zulia here. And you see the road. If we go up again to vertical, you can see that there are a number of roads passing over this border. This is very open, permeable border for illegal traffic. Count 5 there. So today, that was the trip. Tomorrow I will go to, let me turn it around and flip it down. You can see the topography. There, the background, that's Catatumbo, the area controlled by the guerrilla, the last area in the Americas that's controlled by guerrilla. And the road I will drive goes up on the left side of the Rio Zulia. Here it goes, up here in this valley, and then up here to this point it turns, goes over here, up here very close to the border, and we have a place here called Tres Bocas that, by the way, was mentioned in the Swedish television reportage the other year, where they were talking about the cultivation of cocaine, of coca, for the manufacture of cocaine up here. This is Tibu, and my goal is, if the road permits, drive all the way up here to La Gavarra. And this is a bridge over the Rio Catatumbo that is coming from this mountain area, the Catatumbo. And up here is a lot of cocaine being manufactured. So let's see how that is going to go tomorrow. The reason I want to go up that and show that is because the Swedish television reportage was talking about that this area has been infiltrated by Mexican drug cartels, and they were implying that the cocaine is transported out through Barranquilla, and they didn't mention with a word that Venezuela is right there. And we who have followed the topic know that almost all the cocaine from Colombia is going to Venezuela, which is right downriver. And it seems so strange to me that the Swedish television would completely ignore that. I mean, even if the Mexican cartels are the ones receiving the cocaine, which I don't doubt, the way to transport it out is through Venezuela. Why didn't they mention that? That's very strange to me. And that is why tomorrow I will go to Tibu and hopefully to La Gavarra. In the morning I went here to pick up the car. I had to leave early to get to La Gavarra and back before nightfall.